I'm super excited to have the opportunity to speak to you this morning about something that is really important, that really can change your life if you're willing to implement it in a very short amount of time. So let me ask, raise your hand if you know you were created to do really significant, meaningful things in this world, to contribute to a cause bigger than yourself and really make an impact. Okay, cool. If your hand was not up, I encourage you to attend my Mindset Monday session, okay? But here's what I want you to do. If everyone would do this for a moment, just 20 seconds. Just close your eyes for a minute. And I want you to visualize, like you're watching your own movie trailer, your life in its ultimate potential. You being that ultimate person you were created to be, that is truly living your dream life. And think about what you see when you wake up. Where are you? What's the scenery? Who are you with? What are you doing each day? How do you feel when you wake up? Are you stressed? Are you worried? Are you anxious? Or do you feel excited and motivated for what's to come? Are you doing things throughout your day that fill up your battery or drain your battery? And don't be conservative here. Like really, just the ultimate life that you know you could achieve. Okay, thank you. Open your eyes. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? Now, some of you may be there already. That's awesome. Some of you may be on your way there. Many people, I find, feel like there is some type of disconnect from the incredible life that you're living now, yet you know you're capable of more, but you just might not be sure how to access it. Almost like a radio frequency that, like, I know that channel exists, I know that destination exists, I'm just not quite sure how to get there, but I know I have the potential to get there, I'm just not quite sure how to do it. Can anyone resonate with that? The life that you live is a result of the decisions that you make every day. So in order to really just kick it up one more level to become that ultimate God-given potential that you have within you, it simply becomes a result of the habits that you live by. And so this morning, briefly, I'm going to teach you how to become truly unstoppable in your life by mastering the habits that will shape your life. So the question then becomes, what is a habit? So if I were to ask you, what are some buzzwords that you think of if I say the word habit? You would likely say things like muscle memory, automated, I don't even have to think about it, it happens all by itself, no one's got to tell me to do it, right? We can have good habits, we can have bad habits, right? Like, no one has to tell me to drink my coffee in the morning, it's happening, you know? It's happening for a lot of you too. And so a habit, by textbook definition, is an acquired mode of behavior that has become nearly or completely involuntary. And if you have habits in your life, it's because you feel they benefit you somehow, whether on the surface level or really deeply. And so the next question is, how do habits form? How do we form habits? Well, habits are formed by repetition. So a more fancy definition is a behavior pattern acquired by frequent repetition or psychological exposure that shows itself in regularity or increased facility of performance. That's really fancy terms to say something you do a lot and you get better at. You get a lot of reps on something, you get better at it, you see a benefit to it, your performance increases in that habit that you have, and now it's a habit. So, I pose a question for you. If we all agree that there is a level of involuntary nature to habits, one of the things I coach people on a lot, and one of the biggest questions I get is, Rob, how do I form new habits? Who here knows that there are some better habits that you want to form in your life? Right? And that's not to say that you're not happy or not achieving success now, but we can all improve, every single one of us, by forming some new habits. And so the question is, if you want to form a new habit, something that is not involuntary yet, but the definition of a habit is something that is involuntary, on day one of trying to form this new habit, is it actually a habit? Say yes or no. No, not yet. It can be. But if we all agree that habits are involuntary, nothing can be that muscle memory, that second nature on day one. So, to teach you how to form a new habit, the first thing we have to realize is that habits don't start as habits, and you got to give yourself some grace. Because sometimes when I'm coaching people through this and they say, you know, Rob, it's my first day, my second day doing this, and it just doesn't feel second nature yet. Of course not. It's not supposed to. Congratulations, you're human. It's okay. Habits don't start as habits. They start as disciplined decisions. Every habit starts with one simple but very powerful choice. But realize that it does not begin as automatic. It begins as a disciplined decision. Y'all know I'm very passionate about health and fitness. I did not always used to be that way. I used to be very out of shape. And so when I decided to take control of my life in that way, it was hard and my body resisted. I didn't want to eat healthy. I didn't want to go to the gym. I knew I had to, but it wasn't something I wanted to do, but I made the disciplined decision to do it. Okay? Same thing when I got my real estate license. Okay, my family's here, my beautiful wife, my amazing daughter. My wife and I, we were a real estate team when we got started. And we burned the docks. We moved from New Jersey to Texas, new agents, newly licensed. We had no idea what we were doing. And it took us 7 months, 5 months to get our first client, 7 months to have our first closing. And how many of you as a realtor every day do something that you don't really want to do, but you know you have to do? Yeah, I mean all of us, right, for sure. And so it was a lot of disciplined decisions to follow up, to do the open houses, right, to talk to people, to get rejected and keep trying over and over again. And we had a lot of tough nights. Okay, we both used to have teaching jobs. My wife had an amazing teaching job, awesome health benefits, good salary. We left all of that to become commission-only people in a state 2,000 miles away. Yeah, right? Whoa, okay, roll the dice. Okay, but we just kept pushing. We had some scary nights. Anyone ever get the open house blues when you come home from the open house and no one comes? Right? You're like, okay, it's 11 o'clock. I got my signs. I got the water. There's music. There's snacks. Where's the line out the door? And no one comes. And we would look at each other with tears in our eyes saying, what did we do? Like, did we really mess up? Should you get a teaching job again? But we kept pushing through until we actually got some proof of concept. And so if I were to ask you, how long does it take to form a habit? When I ask this question, most people say things like this. They say, Rob, it takes 21 days. Experts say it takes 30 days. No, this book said it takes 60 days. They are all incorrect. They're all incorrect. First of all, I don't know anyone that has formed truly a life-changing habit that is something they've never done to something they can't help but do in that amount of time. But the truth is, it depends. It varies. And anyone tells you it takes exactly X amount of days to form a habit is simply incorrect. It's not like there's a magical thing in your brain where you wake up on Tuesday and your brain says, it's 31 days, muscle memory time, right? So then the question is, how long does it take to form a habit? Well, the answer is, it simply depends on where you're starting from your current state and how far the habit is from your current state. Where your starting point is and how far, right? So to get from Texas to here would take quicker than to get from Texas to California or back to the Northeast. So it really depends on how far you have to go. And it all starts with disciplined decisions. As an example, let's say you wake up at 5:30 a.m. every day and you want to start waking up at 5 a.m. every day. That's not a huge jump. So you make a disciplined decision. It's not super easy, but pretty soon, maybe 3 to 4 weeks, you've got a new habit. Let's say you wake up at 7:30. You get started with your day, but you're like, no, I want to be an early riser. I want to wake up at 5. It's going to take you a little bit longer. You're going to wake up, that alarm's going to go off, and you're going to be like, oh, I don't want to do it. I'm going to do it. Let's say you don't set an alarm. You wake up whenever, 9, 10. You have no structure to your day, and you decide, I want to wake up at 4:30. I want to exercise. I want to start the office at 8, right? You really want to overhaul some things. That's going to take a little while. That might take a year. But if you're willing to make the disciplined decision every single day, you will inevitably form that new habit. But one thing you have to say is, well, how long does it take to form a habit? The easy answer is it just depends on the habit. But set yourself up for that going in, because the one thing I can guarantee you with 100% certainty is you can accomplish anything you want. If you can visualize it, it's because that vision was planted within you for a reason. It's because you're capable of it. But the further it is from what you're doing now, just realize it's going to take you a little longer to get there, and that's okay. So then the question is, all right, How long does it take to perform? So if habits start as disciplined decisions, when is that magical point when it becomes a habit now? We all agree that it's not a habit yet. Eventually it is. When is that magical time? The answer is when you start seeing proof of concept. Proof of concept simply means the thing that you're trying to do that you're not sure if it's going to work, once you see it starts working, that's when you have proof of concept. When I was really on that health and fitness journey, it was really hard. But one day I looked in the mirror and saw a version of myself I never saw before and didn't know I was capable of. And that's when I went from, I don't want to eat that healthy stuff, to like, no, I think I actually do want to eat that healthy stuff. And the stuff I liked eating before, I don't even want it anymore. When my wife and I were pushing through, and it was super hard, and we were doubting and fearful and crying, but we kept pushing through anyway, when we had that first week of closing, 7 months without getting paid. But finally, in month 7, we closed our first 3 deals all in the same week. It was a buy and a sell that closed the same day, and coincidentally, a first-time home buyer that closed in the same week. 3 deals, and even though it took 7 months of nothing, that week, we made over $46,000. And that was almost my previous year teaching salary. That proof of concept said, it's not habit for me to do these things yet, completely, but I know it works. And now we don't have that same fear and doubt because we know if we keep doing this, this is the result we're going to get, and then we dialed it up. So the answer is, well, when does it form a habit? It's when you start seeing proof of concept. How long does it start seeing proof of concept? It depends on how far the habit is. But I guarantee you, if you're willing to make the disciplined decisions that it takes to get there every single day, one decision at a time, you will get the proof of concept, you will form the new habit, and you will change your life, as long as you're willing to do it. So, a couple more tips for you before I'm out. Let me give you a few tips on how to perform habits. Feel free to take notes, take pictures. How to form habits that will put success on autopilot. First and most important is you got to have a super strong reason to form that habit. You got to have a real strong why. This is my why. My beautiful wife, my little angel of a daughter. This is my why. When things are hard, when things are tough, those late nights, those times when I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to do anything but what I'm doing right now. This is my why, to provide them with the best possible quality of life that I can. Personally, just my belief, and I'm not telling you what to believe, I believe God has given me amazing opportunities and responsibilities that I want to steward, and my family is the best one. And I want to do that for them. It's also okay to have more than one why. This is the foundation of my why. But I also have other whys. I'm wired to want to take on challenges. I'm wired to want to win. I'm wired to want to achieve financial success so I can use those blessings to help do good with it. And those are all great things too. And so it's okay to have more than one, but I'll tell you, eventually, there's going to be a time when you start the new habit that you're like, this is awesome. New Year's Day, let's go, right? But then there's going to be a time when you're like, the luster is gone, and I'm not really feeling super motivated to make this disciplined decision today. But if your why is strong enough, that's the thing. Right? When I was building the Power Academy, which is a benefit now, that took 3 years to do. And if you see my family, she'll tell you, it was a stressful time. It was a stressful time. And it was all on me because I had to do it. But in those moments, I had a vision for why I was doing it. To be able to lead to a moment like this, where now we're blessed that they can travel with me and we have control of our time. That was the why that got me pushing through. So in those moments when you're like, I don't feel like this disciplined decision today, that's okay. You won't feel like it every day. Give yourself permission to recognize that. But if your why is strong enough, that will make you make the right decision. It's okay to do something without wanting to do it. It's not okay to let that fear or hesitation stop you from taking action. So just give yourself permission, but do it anyway. Have a strong why. Push through the growing pains. You need grit, delayed gratification, and consistency. If you have all 3 of those things, you can literally accomplish anything you want. Grit. I think some of us, not necessarily the people in this room, but I think the United States in general is kind of on a grit shortage these days, right? In a world of instant gratification, you got a device in your hand, you can get anything you want. You can learn anything you want. You can get food delivered to your door. We live in a society that doesn't really require grit anymore, but I can tell you, there is no AI tool, hack, or app that is a shortcut for hard work. There are things that can make the work a little more efficient. There's no shortcut to just doing the work. And you got to have some grit. Delayed gratification. Doing things now to get what you want later. And again, how far that habit is, you might be doing things now that you won't bear the fruit of a lot later. Thank God farmers have delayed gratification. Can you imagine, like, you plant that tree, you go out your next day, you're like, where's the fruit? I quit. You got to have the delayed gratification, and you got to be consistent. And really, I think that's where most people just drop the ball. Some people, when they're like, Rob, I'm doing it, it's just not working. I say, great, you just do it longer, right? You can't shortcut water boiling. Just let it get to 212. If it's at 208, you're like right there. Just keep going a little bit longer. Last one, just do one habit at a time. Don't try to overwhelm yourself. And I recommend you start with the one that's going to make the biggest and most dramatic change in your life. Don't transition too soon. Lastly, I encourage you to learn from those who have been there. Get the blueprint. All the most successful people have coaches, mentors, and guides. I've been blessed to travel in a lot of entrepreneurial circles with some really high performers. And I can tell you, if I'm at a conference that has a lot of entrepreneurs like this, I can go up to any one of them and say, do you have a coach? How much do you invest in coaching? And they all say, yes, very significantly, right? Professional athletes, CEOs, like we all have those people that guide us, and that's a good thing. You need it.